sound of poetry? I pause when you ask. It's the sound of a thought as it unfolds, the flow of my words as they flow, the whisper of my desire, the conversation of our love, the giggle of the rhyme, the music of the line, the germ of an idea as it grows. It's in the beauty of the letters, the revealing of my masks, the color of the places I've seen, the textures of what I have not. It is in the tempo of your reading, the tapping of my feet, the movement of my arms, and the murmur of my lips. The adventures of the unseen, the preciousness of the revealed. But for me, the sound of poetry is in your eyes as I share the poetry that lies in me. As we begin our second day of the 6th edition of the Bengaluru Poetry Festival, the one thing we discovered is that we all have an enormous appetite for poetry and our ability to handle such a huge variety of offerings and still be greedy for more. A little like the big fat Indian wedding, we have the big fat Bengaluru Poetry Festival with its rich and endless offering. It's like a multi-course meal which never stops. Okay, it stops in 2 days, but within those 2 days it feels like, oh God, there's more. So, and it tastes really nice, yes. So, should we appreciate our ability to take in such variety? Or should we also appreciate equally people who put across this beautiful range of poetry for us to enjoy? Well, I think it's in the fusion. So, those of you who missed joining us yesterday may catch the sessions online once they're posted later. And so many of you, I think, are there with us through both the days, enjoying the feast of words, as I would say. And we do have a lot of people to thank us through, apart from the creators of this who's giving us this experience. I think it's the venue, it's the audiences, it's the people who have come together to make this happen. And also a special note of thanks to Bangalore International Airport, who have been kind enough to help us to promote right from as people enter the city. Okay, in India, everything festive begins with a song. So in true Desi style, we have our first session, speaking in songs. We have heard of Melliflu's voice in many languages, Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Punjabi, Malayalam. And she's here with us to share how poetry, lyrics, and music that we love as film music is interwoven in Bollywood. The session is led by Shantanu Ray Chaudhuri, editor and film buff. Over to you.
Good morning, and the best thing about being here this morning at 10 o'clock is that I don't have to talk much. I'm just going to say these introductory 2 minutes, which are 2 minutes too much, and then, you know, you can't expect anything more of life than being in Bangalore on a rainy Sunday and have nothing to do but sit next to Rekha Bhardwaj and hear her sing and talk. You know, life is beautiful. So
Thank you, so sweet of you, Shantanu.
Thank you.
I'm very nervous. I was telling Subodh, I'm not a morning person to get dressed. I get up early, but I'm more of a housewife, so I'm totally blank right now.
Yeah, we discussed yesterday also, we haven't prepared anything for this because with her, you know, like her explorations of Sufi and the way she sort of has gone through life, it's been unplanned, and I think having questions to bind you sort of will make this. So we'll just wing it as we, you know, like we go
Thank
about
you.
this, yeah. So just you know, we'll talk about. You've been part of Hindi film music, and that's a different sort of poetry. But even otherwise, some of your best songs have come outside the Hindi film, genre. But I'd like to go back right to your childhood. You know, like what was it like at home, growing up in an era when film music used to be the primary source of music, but you were sort of into heavy duty ghazals right from the childhood.
Yeah, ghazals actually happened because of home. So my father was very fond of music. He wanted to learn, and his family didn't let him. So I think he decided when he was young that he'll make all his kids learn music. So that's what he did. And my eldest sister used to do her riyaz early morning, 4:30. So I remember that image is so strong. And we had radio, was the only source of entertainment for us, and I think for most of us at that time. I was born and brought up in Delhi till I got married and shifted to Mumbai. So right from Vandana, that used to start at 6 o'clock, 6 a.m., and half an hour of devotional, divine songs. Like I remember this bhajan of Bhupi ji,
Um,
Moko kahan dhoonde re bande.
would you like to, just...
I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, please, yeah.
Because it's very haunting. So for years, I got married and then I forgot about it, and then I wanted to listen to it and there was no recording. I asked Bhupi ji also, and then somebody sent me, and I cried listening to it on loop for hours.
And in his voice, it is something, no?
Actually,
Yeah.
it's so haunting. Yeah, so it's Kabir Pad. It goes like, I remember the music also. मुझको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में, मुझको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास, ना मस्जिद में ना मंदिर में ना काबे कैलाश, मुझको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, one of my growing up memories also listening to Bibit Bharti those days, and this song came on, and both me and my brother were sort of, and kitne saalon baad jaake we found out the cassette, and then then sort of recorded it on a CD also. But like one of the conversations we were having yesterday, and you said the kind of film songs, and we couldn't escape film songs because at that time radio and all you could escape. But the kind of songs that you liked were, of the variety of Tum Na Jaane Kis Jahan Pe Kho Gaye, Koi Sagar Dil Ko Pehlata Nahi. Could you like
आंसू
to?
भरी ये जीवन की राहें.
Aansu Bhari Hai Jeevan
So
Ki
these
Rahein.
were the 3 songs which I sang from grade 2 till grade 6 in school or in all the functions. And Tum Na Jaane, and I used to enjoy singing, and Tum Na Jaane was my most favorite. And there is this particular harkat. So sometimes I would get it correct and sometimes I would just struggle. Like how it goes like, तुम ना जाने किस जहां में खो गए, हम भरी दुनिया में तन्हा हो गए. देन अंतरे में आता है ना, लौट कर मेरा जहां छुप गए हो, तुम कहाँ, तुम कहाँ, तुम कहाँ, तुम कहाँ. So it's like this. So sometimes I used to struggle. I would be, तुम कहाँ. I still remember, but now I'm able to do it because I'm able to explain it like this. But I used to struggle sometimes, and then later, inside I would just slap myself.
But wasn't class 2 to class 6 a little too young for
Yeah,
Koi
I
Sagar.
was. I think I was like I always loved melancholic songs, and like how I realized fireworks. Yeah, so I think it's about which I realized much later, and now I think I'm moving towards that. That the longing
Yes.
which we carry from the other lifetime. I believe in lifetimes. I believe in cosmic connections and rebirth and
Yeah.
also I feel it was that. I also feel now that this music, like I've received music as gift, like the Rudari when people say that soulfulness, the voice, and a Therao, which I think here people would understand. Bengaluru has great, lovers of music. So that Therao. So these three things I would say
Yeah.
were
Where
given, gifted to me, and I now feel that maybe even that is from some other lifetime, and in that lifetime I must not have completed my musical journey, and so I was born with certain understanding of music and the qualities and all that, which I realized much later. I used to just hear, so in our house we used to have house gatherings like mehfil. Every month one mehfil was you know, it would happen for sure. On our birthdays, there would be mehfil, and there would just be rounds of matti and these snacks till 4 in the morning, and just chai in the big, you know, dekchi mein chai banti thi aur
must have
mummy
been
banati
some.
thi aur हाँ, and everyone used to sing later. My mom would also sing in that mehfil. Papa's like-minded friends would come. My sisters would sing. In fact, my eldest sister would compose ghazals for me. So there was a ghazal, I don't remember completely the words, but I was 6 years old now. I never used to understand ghazal. Like any poetry, I would say, for that matter, except for film songs. Even in that, at the age of 5, 6, what would you understand? But there used to be something in Lataji's songs that would make me cry. These songs of longing, and some poetry we would understand which is easier, like Mairi, Main Kaise Kahun. I remember I was 10 or 11 or 12, and I was preparing this Mahal ka Aayega Aane Wala. So I still remember that female, there was a program they were doing, two brothers, Roop Banerjee and his brother. And this female, she said when she heard me sing this song, so she was telling him that she's singing very well, but don't you think it's very serious song for her age? And they said, but she's singing it so well, let it be. And so I actually, in a way, I experienced a lot of rejection, that kind of rejection as a child. When I was 15 years old, so we went for some program. My father would accompany me, and there was another girl, Yamini, who's also an actor, Mr. Chandan Das's wife, a great ghazal singer. She was also there, so she sang a very peppy song, and I sang Madhumati ka jo gaana hai, मैं आजा तुझको पुकारे या मैं तो खड़ी, yeah, हाँ, so हाँ, मैं तो कब से खड़ी. So there also, like, people were like that, this, so that commercial and non-commercial kind of a thing, but that's where my heart used to be. So I would always sing, and I prepared very less film songs. I think till now must be 10 songs max.
Okay. And this kind of this relationship with this with songs kind of developed with your coming into into contact with Pandit Amarnath. That was a very shaping.
That kept happening because I first learned at home from Didi. My sister got married, then at the age of 12 I joined Gandharma Vidyalaya, where she was learning. So there also I learned music, and I was in choir. I was the youngest member in choir. So we used to learn all language songs, and we would travel with those shows. And there they used to make me sing sometimes, when like the other senior students and all, not in the Vidyalaya. And then I joined Guruji when I came to college.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but ghazals were part of, I think, me from my childhood. We used to listen to radio, like there used to be a program, Sabras, Bhule Bisre Geet.
Geet,
My mother was a fan of Surinder Nath and C.H. Atma. I'm sure nobody, I mean, at this age would know these names also. She would sing that song, Meri aankhein bani diwani. So I'm like, I've grown up listening to all these songs and I had a lot of patience. I would, when I look back, I feel there used to be this 4 days Vishnu Digambar Jayanti conference of Gandharma Vidyalaya. So as a child also I used to accompany my parents, and I wonder what was that was like making me go, because I never ever said I don't want to go. And I would sleep, my father, and that time we would walk from like Ranjit Hotel till Kamani Auditorium. There used to be railway lines like we used to cross, and at night sometimes we would come back at 2:30, sometimes at 4, and my father would lift me halfway and halfway he'll make me walk. So those are my memories. And my brother, otherwise he would say no, he didn't want to go except for few artists. I used to go with them, and I must be sleeping also, but I feel that there must be something that must be soothing for me, or because I never felt that kind of resistance
Yeah.
as a child, and which I feel is a big thing. And all that came into my singing, because listening is something that also gives
Yeah.
you lot of music which goes into your subconscious, and when you get a chance, then it all becomes your own interpretation.
You know, you mentioned this thing about uh, the rejection kind of thing because of the kind of songs you were more inclined to. That rejection also became part when you moved to Bombay, and
Yes,
because of the timbre of your voice was so
exactly.
different, and the common wisdom of Hindi film singing said that you needed a certain. So, would you like to talk about that? You know, like what was it
Yeah.
dealing with that, and that is what led to uh, your exploration of certain aspects, which we'll talk about, and led to Ishka Ishka, which
Yeah.
we will come to that.
So actually, I never aspired to be a playback singer, because I was heavily into classical music and ghazal. So I always wanted to sing ghazals or classical. So because of that, I never thought, because somewhere in my subconscious it had been embedded that I cannot be a playback singer because of the range. We grew up listening to Lataji, Ashaji, and all the other singers also who came uh, would sing on high pitch. So I had the impression that you have to have a thin voice. And after coming to Bombay, I would always hear, that romance in voice, that brightness, that bright. Till date, sometimes I hear there can be little more brightness. But then there's a texture of a voice, and there's also, every person has his or her own like emotional capability. Like I say, I don't have pockets of emotions that, okay, now it's melodrama, just take out emotions from here. Okay, it's a bright romantic song, take out from this pocket. So that kind of a thing. I just feel even if I'll sing a romantic song, there would be a certain melancholy in that. Because now I can say with the, lot of
Confidence also.
confidence that it's part of us. Melancholy is part of us, whether we acknowledge it or not. When we see a good sunrise or a sunset, and something in us feels happy, as well as there is something we feel something's amiss. And I realize that's the longing. That's part of our spiritual journey, and it starts for different people at different time, and for some people maybe that door never opens of that inner journey or spiritual journey, because we don't accept, we try to escape, or sometimes we don't even realize,
Realize,
maybe,
yeah, that's
so that whatever reason can that be. So when I started realizing, I started finding that, that it's because of that. So I think I never aspired to be a playback singer because of that.
Okay.
When I came to Bombay, it's Mumbai, it's really difficult to not wanting to become a playback singer, because Mumbai is all about films. Wherever you go, you just know, and because Vishal was struggling to be a music director in film industry, he's always aspired to be. So he would compose, he would make me sing his composition just to get an idea how it sounds. And that's where that desire started, happening. And sometimes we would go for trials, I would listen to the songs, we would meet few people, and I felt, okay, I can try. When the songs of Nadeem Shravan started coming, because later I realized those most of the songs were of Musarrat Nazir from, Pakistan. So that's why that had an element of some sort of ghazal element in
Yeah,
that, in
yeah.
the gaiki or in the composition. And that's what attracted me. And it started like, I started feeling maybe I can also sing one of the song if this kind of a composition I'm given.
Yeah.
So I met one music composer, and I had just 2, 3 songs which I had recorded, just like that. So I played it to him. I went, met him, played it to him, and he said, "Wow, what a voice!" And how soulful. He called his assistants and made them hear, and he said, "Keep in touch." And when he said, like, "What a soulful voice and lovely voice you have, and you sing very nice, like sur वगैरह बड़ा अच्छा है." So something inside me said, I'm never going to get a break from this person. So I never kept in touch, because you get that gut feeling, inside, like how I sang a song for this particular music director, and when I dubbed, it happened much later after Namak got hit, and it became popular, and that's when people started calling me actually. Otherwise, till then, nobody would call me, and they would say like, maybe I don't sing outside, like, other than my husband's, Vishal's music. But that was an excuse.
Yeah.
How Shami Tandon told me once, he made me sing, and he said, "Why don't you sing more?" I said, "Nobody calls me." And they say, because they have a feeling that I don't sing. Agar
Apart from
Vishal ka
Vishal.
gana nahi, to he said, "No, no, if anybody wants to call, they'll call you." And then it happened after Namak, and I realized it was not about them. It was about me, because my singing had to reach that stage, or that
Where it
वो
would.
मयार बोलते हैं ना कि गाने का वो मयार आना था वहाँ, वो चमक. Like Jagjit ji used to tell me when I would meet him, and he would listen to me, he would say, "अच्छा बंदिश सुनाओ." गुरु जी का नाम सुनते थे, "बंदिश सुनाओ, कुछ recording सुनाओ." Then he would say, "बहुत रुदारी, क्या आवाज़ है." And one day I think he realized that, because I would meet him in few months, whenever I'll have something, I'll meet him. And then he said one day, "सब कुछ बहुत अच्छा है, but चमक नहीं है, चमक लेके आओ." अभी चमक कैसे लाओ तो पता नहीं था, बट तब तक शायद उतना रियाज नहीं किया था. और होता है ना कि somebody has to pinch you hard. I think that happened with Jagjit ji. I came back from town crying in the taxi, and that day Sudarshan Fakir, the great poet, accompanied me. Till date, I remember he did not say a word, not a single word. He let me cry throughout, from church gate to Andheri. I came back home. I told Vishal, and he said, "Take it in your stride and just increase your riyaz." And I started doing chillas of 40 days, of 4 hours every day. And maximum challenges, I faced. Gulzasa would call for dinner. We would come back late, and then I would cry and complete my riyaz of 1.5 hours at 1 o'clock. So that's how it used to happen. But those were the years I would take out all my vengeance, all my frustration in my riyaz. And I think that was the time I realized what chamak he meant, Jagjit ji.
Yeah.
And so these were all mixed up years. So this particular composer I'm talking about, I sang a lovely song for him. And the track had this electronic or digital tanpura, because the acoustic tanpura was male tanpura that he planned to record, but then it couldn't be tuned and all that. So, and I know my pitching was really good at that time, and it was like Shruti ka jo fark hota hai, but I sang the whole song on the correct note. The sa I took, and from that I sang. So I came out and bass song, or that Thumri Anka, yeah. I mean, I can boast of it now. I've reached, I feel it's enough of being modest. So I can boast that Gaiki is my forte, you know, so.
So, Rekha, like Ishka Ishka, and you mentioned something beautiful about the song Roshni in that. So just a little bit of how Ishka Ishka happened, and Roshni mein jo, that ghar jala liya hai, and what that philosophy meant, and how Gulzar ji sort of, and what it meant. If you could also, of course, everybody is waiting for you to sing.
Yeah.
So if Roshni.
Yeah, so Ishka Ishka happened from 2000. We started work on that, but before that, I'll again take you back. So I met these one or two music directors, and I even met Ravin Jainji, and he heard me sing. He called me one day, and then I realized, because I didn't have a high-pitched voice, and I never aspired to sing just first two lines, and then the main song is sung by, some established singer like Alka ji or Kavita ji. So I never wanted to sing ek doha ga diya chilla ke zor se, folk singer ki tarah, and then the main song is sung by. So I never wanted to be that kind of a playback singer. I was very clear about it, that I would. And Vishal always felt, with my classical background, my riyaz, he always felt that he should do something semi-classical. So he started composing Bulle Shah's Kafiyan. And Guldar Saab heard one of it, and then he said, "Ke nahi, we will do this album for Rekha together, and where I would write Sufiana Nagme in the language we speak." And that's how from 93 till 2000, it didn't happen. Like, people used to think that because Guldar Saab and Vishal are recommending me, so I'm not that kind of a singer, like a deserving singer, but it's because I'm related to Vishal. And so I'm indirectly related to Guldar Saab. So they won't do it. But in 2000, Vishal started doing it with his own money, and a friend of Vishal, Krishna Bhai, Krishna Kotak, he gave the first payment, check. So that's how it got started. And I would say till then also I was really unprofessional. It was difficult for me to bifurcate between a music composer and who's my husband. So it's a very thin line, so I would not be able to do that. So I would throw tantrums. If I'm not able to sing, I would just say, okay, I don't think I can get it, so I'll just walk out, because we had our own studio and all that. But from Ishka Ishka started my journey. That Vishal and Guldar Saab were on one level. Their wavelength was like, of the same wave. They were on same wavelength, but I started learning through that. So if I'll get a scolding from Vishal, I'll take it. He'll say, I love to sing in legato, or very slow. So like a snail. So I enjoy that kind of singing. So Vishal would say, I mean, tum paidal chalti ho ekdam, thoda aur rhythm mein aao. और ताल में cut to cut ऐसा आना चाहिए. So तेरे इश्क में that training happened. There are changes, बादल धुने, मौसम बुने. In that part he would say, no, it should be like this. And so during Ishka Ishka, my journey happened as a singer and as a human being also. Because till date those songs are unfolding for me. With the experience you realize the depth of songs more, because at that time I had my own interpretation. And later, every time I sing, I have because my experience, I'm not the same person that I was 20 years back, so, and I went to Osho Commune in 2002
Yeah.
for the first time. I used to listen to Osho with Vishal. Vishal used to get cassettes from the company he used to work for, Pan Music.
Yeah.
Then it was
Pandit's,
Pandit,
R.V. Pandit's.
Pandit's company. So he used to get cassettes, we used to listen to it. And Gulzar Sahab used to get this Osho Times and Osho Darshan, those magazines. So I would bring that and I would read. And that's how I started getting expressions to my feelings or my emotions. So about Ishka Ishka, I used to share a lot with Gulzar Sahab, sometimes in words, sometimes not in words. My questions would go to him in paper, like I would write and give, because I used to be very, shy to talk to him. Sometimes he would reply in a poem. So there's one poem, Nadi, in his Green Poems book. You must check that. So that was because I asked him a question. And बहुत खूबसूरत poem लिख के उन्होंने मुझे जवाब दिया. And till date I keep struggling and I keep going through that. So about Roshni. So he used to listen to me and Vishal. We would talk in general also. And I feel every female at some point, whether at a young age, whether after marriage, after you've got kid and responsibilities and all, somewhere you want to, it's about that kind of a liberation. So then he says, Roshni hi roshni, ghar jala diya hai, chulha chaukhat chauhada sab hata diya hai. It's so beautiful. I think it's the, and it's a metaphor also.
Yes.
That this body is ghar ka, like all the physical aspects have been, shed off, and that inner journey. So, wo ghar jala ke, and then you're going towards that divine, the source of us.
Light,
So I think that's what I get it now, but at that time it was more of that when you struggle for your own identity, when you want your time.
Yeah.
Because
break free of whatever is
break free of
constraining
everything.
from the family life
Yeah,
also.
yeah. जहाँ अटकी थी डाल पे पतझड़ ने उड़ा दिया, जो पतझड़ ने हवा दी और पतझड़ ने उड़ा दिया जो हवा. So I'll sing some of it.
Yeah,
So.
please do.
Yeah. रोशनी 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 घर जला लिया है, घर जला लिया है, घर जला लिया है, घर जला लिया है, घर जला लिया है. चूल्हा चौखट चौहदा, चूल्हा चौखट चौहदा सब हटा दिया है. घर जला लिया है, घर जला लिया है. जाट की थी डाल पे जब झोंका आया, जाट की थी डाल पे, जाट की थी डाल पे जब झोंका आया. पतझड़ ने पतझड़, सॉरी आई एम सिंगिंग. पतझड़ ने नहीं, जो उड़ा दिया है, जो उड़ा दिया है. आई एम सॉरी. I'm singing after ages this song and I'm feeling so good.
It's wonderful, like we'll come back to your most recent experimentations in this journey of exploration,
Yeah.
of finding out about yourself. But one thing, like with Gulzar Saab, you have something as evocative as Ishka Ishka and uh, Badi Dheere Jali and all of that. At the same time, you also have Oye Boy Charlie, you know,
Yeah.
you also
Darlings.
Darlings. You have
Namak.
Mere Piya Gaye Rang, England.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. Would you like to just, we were talking about that, and Gulzar Sahab actually says, you cannot keep lamenting the fact that, अच्छा यार वो
हाँ.
पहले जैसी पोएट्री नहीं रही. He used to
Yeah.
get asked at festivals कि आप तो पहले कभी वो हमने देखी है और इस मोड़ से जाते हैं लिखते थे, अब आप लिखते हैं
बीड़ी
कजरारे
जलाई
एंड
ले.
बीड़ी जलाई ले, इतने शरीफाना लिरिक्स थे. तो he says, आपको किसने कह दिया कि मैं शरीफ था, like, so, and like you cannot have a woman singing मैं तुलसी तेरे आंगन की, जबकि ना तुलसी है ना आंगन है. So would you like
So
to just
true. Yeah. और गुलजार साहब बोलते हैं बिल्कुल कि उनकी एक किताब, there is a book titled पाजी नज़में.
हाँ.
पाजी नज़में, so naughty poems. So वो that element is there. I think it's the balance and that sensitivity. और जैसे जावेद साहब बोलते हैं कि आर्टिस्ट मतलब हैं तो थोड़ी सी बदमाशी तो इम्पॉर्टेंट है, नहीं है तो फिर परचून की दुकान खोल लेनी चाहिए. लाइक अ ग्रोसरी स्टोर. बिकॉज आर्टिस्ट के वो सब आयाम है ना, लाइक ऑल दी facets you have to it.
Would you like
So-
to sing one of these really, because Darlings and Way
Yeah,
Boy
Darlings.
Charlie. Yeah.
Darlings, I was just remembering that, I sing for my shows also. Okay. Hey darlings, आँखों से आँखें चार करने दो, रुको ना मुझको प्यार करने दो. बेकैफ है बहार, बेचैन जाने यार, बुलबुलों को अभी इंतजार करने दो. डार्लिंग, आँखों से आँखें चार करने दो. Thank you. I just feel the words he uses. इसमें भी आँखें चार करने दो, प्यार करने दो, लेकिन बेखैफ है बहारा. अंतरे में how it comes, खादिम को दिल पे तो इख्तियार करने दो. पब्लिक में सनसनी करने दो.
Yeah.
So I mean वो naughtiness के साथ भी the aesthetics. I think
Yeah.
you've been listening to poetry and how you said like the appetite is just getting more and more. So poetry is all about aesthetics.
Yeah. Like he actually said once that, अगर कोई माफिया वाला आदमी है और दिन भर का खून खराब करके घर वापस जाता है, and he's having a glass of something to drink, and he won't be listening to Dile Nada Tujhe Hua Kya Hai. The song in his mind will be Goli Maar Bheje Mein.
So
so, and it's fascinating, and your songs with him sort of have brought about that change. But coming towards the conclusion of this, the last 2 years, the pandemic has upended everything. We don't have that life. We'll never have that life. But it has given you a certain growth through the works of Hazrat Inayat Khan. And one of the greatest things about sitting with Rekha at any conversation is, yesterday I learned about this great Peer Saab and actually went back and checked about him. Would you like to talk? And this is Sufi songs in English, Sufi poetry in English that Rekha is now composing. So would you like to?
So Hazrat Inayat Khan was a musician and court musician at Baroda Maharaj's father and grandfather, and then he was a court musician at Nizam of Hyderabad. And there he met his peer, got initiated, and then he traveled to West because his peer asked him to spread Sufism in West. So basically he's known more there. In our country he's known more as Sufi Inayat. And so in West, his grandson now, is a Gadde Nashin. There's a dargah in Delhi, but he's the one who formed this academy, Suluk Academy, and he started doing this 2 years graduate course in teachings of Hazrat Inayat Khan. So I was looking for lot of information to do zikr and all when I got exposed to whirling and zikr at Osho Commune. So after doing the Ishka, I went to Osho Commune and there was a course about Sufi Darwish threshold where I learned about Rumi for the first time in 2002, that who Rumi was and his poetry and that whirling meditation, how it was initiated by him, and the poetry of him, Hafiz. I got introduced to all that. And my journey started, and for me it was not like a religion, but like more like a path to walk on. Like how I read a book, I feel I might not remember all of it, but there is a part of it which just helps me grow. Same way about the songs. I've always grown further in my life through my songs because it keeps unfolding, and especially Gulzar Saab's, even for that matter, song Kabira, you know.
Yeah.
So there's something keeps unfolding, and that has, I think, brought me to this stage where I got to know of. I kept thinking that why didn't I know about this Suluk Academy. I did contact them in 2018. I bought Hazrat Inayat Khan's book, Mysticism of Music, Words and Silence. It's a beautiful book. And yet I was unaware of so many courses. I went to US. I could have gone to Richmond, Virginia, and could do. But then I think how you get prepared, how Osho says, ke Torah, your quest, your thirst, when it's more and more and there's no rest for you, you're so restless that you, I mean, things start happening. And I used to wait, you know, I would say, कि वो Torah कैसे जगेगी? मतलब, why am I not so restless? You know, I'm restless in bits and pieces, but not always. And it started happening for last 4 years. Nothing would make me happy, you know. It would just be very momentary, singing, everything, and I would find my singing also, no, I shouldn't sing now, it's not happening that much. And then I went to Dargah in Delhi in 2019, November for the first time, and I felt really good in that basti of Nizamuddin. It was like an oasis. And then I got a newsletter in Jan of 2020 about the Suluk graduate course, and it was supposed to be in person in Virginia 4 times in a year. And I would think that how would I go, but I wanted to do it. And then March lockdown happened. I got another mail from them. Now they are going to do it on Zoom. So I started preparing for that. Then I forgot about it. I was supposed to write to them why I want to do it, because I was not a murid. I was not initiated into Inayatiya. And in July, they asked me again. And then I got initiated. And I got accepted and the course started. Little did I know what I was getting into. And I started preparing this Dhrupad from his book, Minkari Musikar, which he wrote in 1900 and recorded. So there was a notation. So I would read Urdu, and with the help of Jamil Gulrez Saab, jinse I'm also, you know, polishing my Urdu. Yeah. And then the notation I would do, I would consult somebody on the raga, because that time rag ki jo notation thodi si different thi, kuch ek do ragon ki. And I prepared this first Dhrupad for the Sama. I did Sama for them online, musical attunements in the class, and that's how this nature poems, this book, you know, it has poems on air, and I realized for the first time how beautiful, like how these are the things we feel when we are standing in the, you know, wind and breeze. Like speak God to me through the air, heal me God by the waves of the air. In the air I hear thy consoling voice, in the touch of the air I feel thy compassionate caress, or something like that. Lift my soul air and carry it to his divine spheres. And I started composing, because every month so I would be doing something for them. So I started composing. There's a book called Gayan Vadan Nirtan, which has subsections like Sur, Taan, Bol, Alap, and in there, Hazrat's verses are there. So one of my favorite verse, which I sing when I feel like, every day also sometimes, like, let your might strengthen me, your light inspire me, and let your love move my soul to the ultimate joy.
Can you sing that for us?
Yeah. Let your might strengthen me, your light inspire me, and let your love move my soul to the ultimate joy. Ishqallah, Mabudallah, Ishqallah, Mabudallah, Ishqallah, Mabudallah. Let my heart melt in thy light as the snow before the sun. Every leaf becomes thy fingers as thou fillest the flute with thy breath. It's something like that. So
And this is something you composed from.
I've composed, yeah, I've then brought it, Ishqallah, Mabudallah, like that.
It's almost, like I find the link to something like Amazing Grace, that song, that wonderful Christian hymn. Any other compositions, to
Our time is
one
over.
more, one more, like, or I think all of us, one more, maybe
So
Namak.
one prayer I would like to do, which is it's called Khatun. It's also in English, but it's so beautiful. Like, I think it resonates with most of us, so, and especially at the present time. So I composed it in Rag, Puriya, and then Shri, and mixed. So I'll just sing that. It will take 3 minutes at least. Huh? Who are the perfection of love, harmony and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth. Oh, thou who are the perfection of love, harmony and beauty, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly cometh from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our soul, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful, compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the differences and distinctions which divide us. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit. Unite us all in thy perfect being. Oh, thou who art the perfection of love, harmony and beauty. Oh, thou.
Oh, my.
Thank you.
Rekha, thank you so much. May you just, keep enriching our lives with
Thank you
these
so much.
beautiful you know, your voice is divine, you know, it just takes you. I've got goosebumps, you know, just listening to this last bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be able to share my life journey with all of you. Thank you.